Okay, I am back. It is 1:15. It took me quite a while to peel all of the peaches, and some of them just were not ripe, so I had to fight with them. But I got them all peeled. They're all peeled sitting in here. So now we're going to pit them and slice them. And you want to make sure when you're slicing your fruit that you go over the entire peach, especially after you peeled it. If you see any blemishes or any bruising of the fruit, and I'm going to use this one as the prime example, there's a lot of bruising right in here, and there is a blemish right there. You want to cut all of that out before you start pitting and slicing that. You don't want that to end up in your final product. At the same token, some of these just did not peel all that well, but we're going to make do and hope that these peaches will pit fairly good. I'm going to shove my knife in and do this. And you want to make sure, yeah, this one actually disintegrated, so this one is not going to actually, yeah, that, unfortunately that peach was too rotten. I had to throw that one away. If they don't split in half nicely, either you're going to have to throw them away or you're going to have to use them for something else. Unfortunately, I lost that one because he was too rotten all the way through. So hopefully this one will pit nicely, and it feels like this one will actually pit, but it's going to pit in half. Yeah, this one was the half. So you just want to, and you want to be gentle with this. And make sure, obviously, that you get all of the stone out. And then you're just going to start slicing your peaches into slices. And you want to make them fairly big chunks. You don't want to go too thin with your peach slices. If you get a pit that is not easy to take out, what you want to do is you want to run your paring knife, or what you can do is you can actually cut your peaches into slices, and they hope that they slide off, and these should just pull away from the pit. Like I said, these are not, you're not using these for pie or anything. And I'm going to do another one. And again, you just want to make sure you look at your peach and you make sure that there are no bruises or blemishes, because you don't want that in final product. Now, if you really have a bad part and you can't split them, just start cutting your slices. So I'm cutting all the way around, and hopefully I'm getting to the end of this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to hopefully be able to peel these. Now, the recipe actually tells you to make X's on the bottom of your peaches. I don't think you need to necessarily do that. And you want to watch the liquid. You don't want a lot of peach juice into this, because you're going to do the syrup is what's going to can. And I'm just trying to, if I can get to the pit, which this one doesn't want to pit. So I'm going to hopefully do another one, and I'll show you what I kind of did. And if your fruit's not fully ripe, I don't know what to tell you. I would say make the best of the situation as you can. Always make sure your hands are nice and clean and washed when you're working with fruit. So I'm going to show you another trick. Pull the peel off. Fortunately, I would turn you so you guys could see this sideways. I'm going to have to do this up. When you put your knife in, go all the way around your peach and make sure that you're hitting the pit. I actually have one of my hairs came off on that one. Run your finger underneath. This one is not pulling apart easy. It's kind of squishing. So what you're going to do in this situation, and I need to wash this peach for a second. It'd be nothing like having a piece of my hair in here. What you're going to do is you're actually just going to take your knife and actually make the slices. And you're going to do that all the way around the peach. And then I'm going to put you down for a quick second so you can see this. So I made the slices, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wiggle your finger in and hope that one of these slices breaks off. I'm going to put this over here since I'm using this one. Sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it won't. If you have to use your knife to get in there, okay, there we go. And then just go around and start slowly taking your peach and trying to get them off the pit. Sometimes peaches can be stubborn. If you have a stubborn peach, you can run your knife gently around the pit and hope that it loosens up and falls off. I can use that one. Sometimes you have to just be gentle and loosen the peach off of the pit. Now hopefully you guys can all see this. I'm just gonna take this bottom piece where I smashed off, because that, you don't want that in your slices. Okay, now figure out where I need to cut. I'm gonna kind of score underneath it and hope this one will drop off. Now I want to cut some of this off. Get in there. Okay. And then you have your shells. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show you what I did right here. And now is when you're going to want to look to use your fruit fresh. And you're just going to want to use a little bit of a sprinkle on your peaches. That's going to keep your peaches from browning. It'll also prevent them from turning, from rotting before you can them. So I'll be back once I finish all of the peaches. And then we'll start canning and we'll make the syrup that needs to go on the peaches. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, welcome back. I'm doing this relatively quick because I've already got the syrup on the boil. But I've filled all my jars with the slices, as you can see. What we're going to do is the sugar and water need to boil for a couple of minutes. They've been boiling for a couple of minutes. I'm going to ladle and put the lids right on. But before I do that, I need to get the Okay, all of my jars are sterilized. I've got the lids right here and my rings. What you're gonna do is you're gonna fill these almost to the top with liquid. My husband has been nice enough to be stirring for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to ladle our sugar on top. And you want to give it a minute to fill the whole jar up. And that one did. And as soon as it is done, what you want to do is you want to put your lid on and tighten it really tightly. And you're going to do this for all of the jars. And you want to make sure that the liquid comes almost to the top of the jar. And sorry if I sound out of breath, I kind of am. I need to hurry up with this. You want to make sure you put enough liquid in so that it's not quite to the top, but you definitely want it to be at the top. And you want to loosely tighten your bands, but you want to make sure your bands are tight enough. Now this is making 9 pints of sliced peaches. And I will tell you, having never done this before, would I do this again? I don't know if I would do this again. Probably not, just because I had a lot of problems slicing this many peaches. But we'll see if they taste good. Now, I did forget to add one thing that I told my husband I would do to his peaches. And that's, I have whole cinnamon sticks. If I can hurry up and get this thing off. There we go. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take 1 whole cinnamon stick per jar. I'm just going to wedge this down below. And that's going to give a cinnamon flavor to each jar of sliced peaches. Now, if you're doing a quart, you could definitely do 2 cinnamon sticks. For the pint, I think you only need 1. You really don't need more than 1. Now, I need to hurry up and get this, because this liquid should constantly boil. So you want to kind of be fast on this. Now with the cinnamon sticks, you're going to want to you're going to not want to open these for at least the first week. The longer they sit, the better they'll taste, because they'll absorb the cinnamon flavor. Now, again, these jars need to be processed for about, I'll have to consult the recipe book or the computer again, but I believe they have to be processed for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And if you get any of the sugar sauce on the jars, just make sure you wash them with a clean dish towel. do these last 2 jars really fast. And I have enough simple syrup that I can use. And my husband said, can you use the simple syrup like you use for drinks? Well, in a nutshell, no. Because the drink simple syrup is different from what needs to go on the peaches. Alright, now that that's done, I need to get in here and wash my hands. So, now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to wipe the bottom of the jars. Now we need to process the jars. And I have 9 cans, and I know that my canner usually can only handle 8 jars at a time. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to turn you guys around for a second. Alright, sorry if I seemed rushed. That was a really quick rush job that I did. Okay, yeah, you're going to wipe, tighten. Let's see. Prepare can. Drop peaches thoroughly. Even remove air bubbles. Okay, for the raw pints, which we did, we're going to process for 25 minutes. If you're doing quart size jars, they need to go for 30 minutes. And if they're not packed, they need to go for 25 minutes. So these will be processing for 20 minutes. So I'm just taking my peaches now, and make sure my husband does not touch the lid, and hopefully, oh, I turned it to low. It needs to be boiling actually. Well, that's alright, because I won't burn myself.
I usually start.
No, I probably will. Okay, I need to let the water come to a boil before I place these in the canner. You're going to want to can them. Now, when you store them, you're going to store them pretty much the same way that you did the jam. The only difference now is you're going to turn them upside down. And the next day, you're going to look for 2 things. They need to be kept wrapped up in a quilt. And I'm going to kind of show you my setup. Is very similar, but I have a lot longer of a thing. And here I have an old quilt that I'm going to just cover the bottles so that they can cool down. But what you're going to do the next day is you're going to look for any liquid rings, making sure that the lids are not leaking. You're also going to make sure that your jars don't do that. Any jars that do that need to go in the refrigerator. All the jars that have sealed, then after the first 24 hours, then you can put them away. I suggest not using your canned peach slices for at least the first week so they can absorb the syrup and everything. And that makes them just nice. Now our canner is almost coming up to a full boil. And luckily I did not decide to do the jam at the same time I did the slices, because the slices took a lot out of me. I will be doing the jam later on today. As a matter of fact, while these are processing, I'll start getting things ready to do more peach jam. But I'm not going to film that. We're just working on these guys. And you want to get these into the canner rather quickly. And actually, if this isn't boiling, it's going to come to a boil fairly soon. I'm just going to go ahead and drop these in. And again, you want to make sure that your canner has at least 2 inches of water above it. And just allowing a little bit of liquid out. And they're just now starting to come back up to the boil, so I'm going to cover it. I'm going to allow it to boil, and then I'm going to set a 20-minute timer. Once the 20-minute timer goes off, they'll be done. Now the recipe, I just re-looked at the recipe. It's showing that you do not need to store them upside down, but you do need to remove the air bubbles. And you can kind of see the air bubbles on the bottom. And I just removed the air bubble there. But they should all seal. So I'll be back to show you what the final product looks like. And we'll wrap up this video. Okay, hi all. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're following the peach slices, and these are the peach slices that I'm making today. I'm also going to make the peach jam, but since I already posted that, I'm not going to be filming that. But I am going to be filming the blueberry jam. Now, whether or not I have enough time to do the blueberry jam will determine on whether or not it gets filmed on Wednesday, which today is Wednesday, or if it gets filmed later on Thursday. Now, I did reread the blueberry jam. The blueberry jam actually does not take as long as peach jam does. You still have to process the jars for 10 minutes for the blueberry, but this time, instead of using a potato masher, we're going to just pulse the blueberries in the food processor. So what you basically need to do is wash and clean all of your blueberries. Now, this is where the sugar amount will get tricky, because every recipe I've read making blueberry jam requires at least 8 cups of sugar. Now, you can substitute some of that by using this real low, it's the real fruit, low or no sugar needed pectin. And then that can actually decrease your amount of sugar that you need to put in. Now, if you're using the boxed pectin, such as this, you're definitely going to need to put the amount of sugar that the recipe calls for. Blueberries are one fruit that you really can't play with their sugar, especially if some of your blueberries are on the tartar side. You're going to need the sugar to make your jam sweet. So, while my cans for the slices, for the canned peach slices are processing, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to finish all of the peach jam I need to get made. I'll be back later on, because my phone needs a good charge from all of the videos I filmed today to charge, and I'll be back when we start doing the blueberry jam. So stay tuned for blueberry jam.